Welcome to 2023 Hits and Shits, where I talk about all the makeup I used in the year 2023, what was hit and what was shit. This is going to be part 1, hits. For top primers of 2023, I do have 2. I know it's cheating, but let me explain. One is for pore blurring, one is for more grip. These are both from e.l.f. Let's talk about the gripping one first. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with 4% niacinamide. Now the original one is green. That's a little bit better if you're dry, but if you're oily like me, 4% niacinamide will be really great with oil production, sebum production throughout the day, things like that. Now Milk Makeup is the one that popularized a gripping primer, and I don't really like theirs, but what I love about this one is it's not too grippy. It doesn't make your makeup look patchy, but it really helps with longevity throughout the day. It doesn't mess with any other products. You can use it with water-based foundations and silicone-based foundations, and it's not an issue at all. For pore filling, this is the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. Now I do own the original putty primer in like the little jars. I don't really care for those. They worked just fine, but I didn't think it was anything life-changing. This is really great because it has a super liquidy, watery texture that just really melts into the skin gorgeously. I like products that play well with other products. I don't have to be like, oh my gosh, is this water-based? Is this silicone-based? And it really just blurs and kind of spackles in those pores. Gives your skin a really beautiful soft focus kind of blur as well. So if you're looking for something to even just put a moisturizer on, give your skin a little bit of blurring, a little bit of line softening, concealer, and run out the door, this is also a great kind of no makeup option. When I found out that they were reformulating my holy grail Dior Face and Body Foundation, I almost lost my mind, okay? Dior has this terrible habit of just reformulating everything that's good. So when I heard they reformulated my favorite foundation of all time, I was honestly a negative Nelly. I was like, the new one's gonna suck, they ruined it, blah, blah, blah. I bought it anyway. Do I think it's as good as the original Face and Body? No, and I'm gonna explain why. This is Dior Face and Body. You'll know you have the new formula when it has the capital letters for Dior as opposed to just the D being capitalized. I do love that it is in a little squeezy bottle. A lot of people say that's not luxurious. I prefer it. It's great for travel. It's great for mixing and matching. It's really, really easy and user friendly, so I am totally happy with that. Biggest difference between this one and the old one is they did add squalane and a little more hyaluronic acid in this one, so it's a little bit more hydrating and nourishing. As someone who's oily combo, that did make me a little nervous, so I was just like, okay, it's just gonna melt off my face. It's not gonna look good on me anymore. I'm not gonna enjoy it. I still loved it. I do have a TikTok up comparing the old and the new versions. I'll link it in the caption if you want to watch that, but I do still love this. It just looks really smooth and flawless both on camera and in real life. Hi Wendy! Say hi to YouTube. What do we think? He's just over it. Now this is a medium buildable to full kind of foundation, and that is definitely my preferred. I love when skin looks like skin. It has a very fluid kind of texture to it, very lightweight. You can't even feel it on the face. I'll say I've never used this as body foundation, so I can't attest to that, but I think the wear on the face is fantastic. It has a really beautiful kind of blurring effect on the skin, whether you are mature, dry, to combo, to oily. I would be careful if you are acne prone because it has a little bit of fragrance to it. All luxury foundations have a fragrance to it. When I was working at Sephora, this was the #1 foundation. Every time I wore it, people were like, what is on your skin? I want to buy it. Face and Body. My concealer favorite of 2023 definitely shocked me so much because Natasha Denona has been a brand that's been around for such a long time. Honestly, I haven't been really impressed by a lot of their complexion products, and working at Sephora, a lot of the products tended to kind of collect dust, if I'm being honest. But they released this life-changing concealer this year. This is the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. This is the best concealer I've used in years. First of all, I love the applicator. It is super precise. You need the tiniest amount. It is full coverage, but not cakey, not super matte, not super drying. It blends out so gorgeously, and I have very dry under eyes. I am combo oily around the face, under my eyes and around the corners of my eyes. It's always kind of like dry and flaking. This is fantastic. It just smooths over it. Now, if you're oily and not combo oily like me, this could be a little bit too oily for you. It does have a very glowy kind of dry down to it. It's extremely hydrating, but as long as you set with a powder, I honestly think you'll be fine. Reoccurring theme between all the products I love is I love very thin textures that deliver great coverage, buildable, skin-like, doesn't look like you have foundation or makeup on. This was definitely my most reached for concealer of 2023. Absolutely beautiful. I'm just going in the order of which I do my makeup. Next, I would do my cream contour. This is not a new product, but I used it so much in 2023 that I have to mention it. This is the Patrick Ta Creme Contour and Bronzer Powder Duo. The color of this is so perfect. The formula is so perfect. Buildable pigment to it, so this is so fail proof. Did extend his shade range this year, which is great too. And this looks like such a natural shadow and a natural contour on the face. Sometimes with contours, when they're too pigmented or they're too gray or they're too orange, it looks super unnatural on the skin. I can only speak for my skin tone. I am a light neutral, but I have friends who are like medium and they use this shade too. So because it is buildable, you're able to build it up to a little bit of a deeper color. And it's one of the contours where whether you're wearing a skin tint or a full coverage foundation, it will work. It will flex depending on what kind of coverage you like. And of course, we love love that it comes with a bronzer. The bronzer is a little bit more of a loomy finish, so I don't use it all the time, just when I'm drier. It's still nice and soft, very pigmented, very pretty, very glowy. And girl math says this is a buy one get one free product. So cream blush, if you know, you know. These are the M Cosmetics So Soft blushes. She did gift me 3 of these, but the other 3 I purchased myself. These are also not a new product, but I reach for them so much. Just glides on the face. You don't have to take it on your hand and take it with the brush first. You can just go straight on the face. It's so soft that it's not going to move. Cream contour, foundation, concealer, nothing. It's so soft that it blends out so beautifully. You can blend this with a sponge. I prefer a brush so I can have a little bit more control. Semi matte kind of dry down, so it definitely lasts pretty long. The 2 shades that I use the most this year, Pearl Tea. It's a little bit more of a bronzed kind of burnt peach color, meaning more brown, but what I love doing is focusing this towards the temple so it kind of snatches, please pardon my cat, snatches and brings your cheekbones up and out. Using blush to contour your face, you can skip contour if you want. And then on the apple of the cheek, I'll put Chiffon. Chiffon is a beautiful, true, neutral, rosy pink. It's just a very fail-proof color. Not too vibrant, not too pale, just perfectly in the middle, especially if you're light neutral like me. As someone who is a grease ball in the summer and oily combo the rest of the year, I'd like to say I have a pretty good grasp on powders. I've tried so many powders this year, I think over 20, and these 2 were my absolute favorite. Let's talk about the setting powder first. This is the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, but it's the new Ultra Blur formula. Now, I like this so much better than the original translucent formula, and that's because I find that the original formula is a little bit too drying and look a little bit too powdery. Because I have dry under eyes and because I always set them with a powder due to creasing and I just have watery eyes from my contacts, I want to set my concealer with a powder, but I don't need a powder that's too drying and too chalky because it's going to make my already dry under eyes even more dry. This powder is absolutely perfect because it locks your makeup in absolutely all day, but it doesn't feel drying. It is ultra blurring. It just makes it look like there's a soft focus filter on your under eye. I love this around my face as well. It's matte enough that it's going to lock your makeup in place, make sure it lasts all day, but it's not so matte that it looks chalky and powdery. This is my favorite finishing powder. Jenny, what's the difference between a setting and a finishing powder? A setting powder is more to lock in your makeup, make sure it lasts all day. A finishing powder is really the last step of your makeup to really blur your skin, melt all those powders together, make sure everything looks really nice and seamless and cohesive. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Powder. I love the packaging. First of all, it keeps things really nice and tidy. There's a mesh net too, which is super nice. I love getting just a fluffy powder brush and lightly sweeping it all over my skin as the last step of my makeup. Anything that's not blended as well, like if your bronzer looks a little muddy, if your blush isn't really looking seamless under the eye, just putting that kind of veil filter blur onto your skin makes a world of a difference. I originally didn't like this because I was using it wrong. I thought it was a setting powder and I was like, this is awful, because I would use this dry powder to set my wet concealer, so it would darken my concealer. Granted, I had to dig on the Ulta website to see that this was a finishing powder, but once I realized the error of my ways, I absolutely fell in love with this. Now, do you have to do a cream and powder contour and bronzer? Absolutely not. I just like doing it because it gives me extra longevity, and I honestly enjoy the process of putting on makeup, so I'm a little extra with it. For my powder contour, my absolute go-to was the Nabla Sunkissed Effect Bronzing Powder Skin Bronzing Glaze. This is in the shade Soft Revenge. For my skin tone, it was just absolutely perfect, and I love that it's not super pigmented. I'm really able to grab a brush and just not have to worry that I have to be so precise and so careful. It's not super warm, it's not super cool, it's right in the middle, and I love that it's not a flat matte. It has a beautiful kind of satin glow to it that just makes your skin look really nice and glowy. I also have blushes and highlighters in this kind of baked formula that are absolutely gorgeous as well. My #1 used blush absolutely all year was 1000% Milani Baked Blush in Petal Primavera. Such a gorgeous baby pink color. It looks really nice and beautiful. I love that it has a satin finish to it, so I'm doing blush and highlight in one, and again, not super pigmented. Take a brush, fluff it all over the face, kind of be messy with it because I do my makeup in a rush sometimes, and I don't have to worry about it looking overdone, unblended, too pigmented, too patchy. And the sheen on it makes my cheeks look so juicy, which again, I love that because it gives my face a lot of dimension. Because that was my favorite blush, I wasn't reaching for highlighter a whole lot, but when I was reaching for this one. This is the Haus Labs Bio Radiant Gel Highlighter in the shade Rose Quartz. Now, this is originally supposed to just be a highlighter. You can definitely just wear it as a blush if you want to. I like getting the best of both worlds, so even after I do my blush, or I'm using a matte blush and not the Milani one, and I just want a little bit extra glow, I very lightly pick this up and I just tap it. I really like focusing this on the apple of my cheeks. It has that really cute baby pink color color and get the baby pink kind of baby doll effect to your cheek without being a little bit too extra or being too bright. If you like a vibrant blush, more power to you. I'm boring. I love my neutrals if you couldn't tell. So just a cute little pop of pink without overdoing it was absolutely perfect. Now I thought I did my brows well, and I recently had an existential crisis because I had Judy do my makeup and she did my brows, and I was like, oh my god, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to brows. So I'm gonna graze past this part. I will say my most used brow powder was 1000% the Wet n Wild's Brow Kit. Now this is crusty and raggedy, and I was gonna clean it up or buy a new one to show you, but I think it's kind of fun seeing makeup that's super loved. This is in the shade Ash Brown, which is the perfect neutral brown for me. I do lean cooler. I know my face looks really warm. I just really like bronzer, but I do lean true neutral, sometimes even cool. My hair color is a very cool black as opposed to a warm black. So the struggle that I have with brow powders is oftentimes it looks too warm of a dark brown, too warm of an espresso, then it looks really out of place on my face. The Ash Brown shade is absolutely perfect. I love that it comes with a light brow powder and a dark brow powder, so you can ombre your brows if you want to. It comes with a wax, tweezers, a little brush and spoolie, and a mirror in it. Isn't that so fun for what, like $5-6? Number one brow gel, 1000% the Rare Beauty one. Selena put her whole ussy in this because this is one of the best brow gels I have ever used. I think the official name, it's not on here. I think it's like the Brow Harmony Flexible Brow Gel or something like that. I don't know how this formula is so lightweight. It doesn't get crusty. It doesn't get musty. It holds immediately and is the perfect texture for a brow gel. Not super wet that you have to like wait for it to dry down and then move your brows hairs. Not so dry that it feels really cakey and gross. It's a really perfect in between, and it works on even the most stubborn of brows. Erin gifted this to me, I want to say maybe 4 months ago. So I've only been using it for half the year, but ever since I started using this, I have not touched any of my other brow pencils. And when I'm done with this, I will repurchase it at full price, $20+ for a brow pencil, because I genuinely think the formula is that good. This is the Kosas Brow Pop Nano. What I love about it, it has the most precise tip applicator ever. And I love that it's a harder formula, so you can get really clean and precise brow hairs. Very long lasting, and it's not so hard that it kind of snaps off if you push too hard. It is a perfect in between. Now I will say, if you are a brows first girly, because it's a harder formula, it does dispense the product better on a powdered or a dry face or dry skin. If you do all your skincare first and your brows are a little bit wet and you try to use this, it's not going to dispense because that's how the formula is. That's not an issue for me because I'm a brows last girly, but it's just something to know. Kind of cheating because I started using this about 3 months ago, but it is so good. It is the only eye primer all year that I've actually been blown away by. It's from Ulta Beauty, my ex-employer that traumatized me. This is the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer. Now what I love about this is it does have a slight kind of nude color to it, so it does really cancel out if you have any like darkness or discoloration or veininess on your eyelids. It really helps mellow it out a lot. I have the greasiest lids ever. It's really annoying. Usually I just take a concealer on there, set it with the powder, and that totally works. An eye primer is a little bit more of a luxury. I don't think it's a necessity. However, if you're in the market for one, this is one of the best ones I've ever used. I like it more than About Face. I like it more than Urban Decay. I like it more than Milk. Genuinely just a very good product and super affordable, which is a nice bonus. We're not going to be surprised by my favorite eyeshadow palette of the year. This is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3 palette. Now, if you came from my TikTok, you know that I am a Dose of Colors eyeshadow girly. I have been for years. I still am, but there is just something about this formula. I do own the first 2 Patrick Ta palettes. They're beautiful as well in their own way, but they do have a little bit more of a creamy pigment to them for their shimmers and their mattes. The formula of this is not confirmed, I'm just hypothesizing. It feels so different. It's silky. It all blends into each other so easily, so well. You barely have to put any work in. Because of that silky matte kind of formula, it just diffuses over your lid so perfectly. It's like you're airbrushing eyeshadow on. It's insane. I love that there's a row of warm tones. I love that there's a row of cool tones. I love that there's a couple neutrals. The 2 creams in there are really great too. You can use it as a base for your eyeshadow. You can use it as an eyeliner. They do lean on the waxier side, so if you have oilier lids, do be careful. As long as I prime, I'm fine, but just letting you know. It is so smooth. It is not patchy. It doesn't skip. I like this one 10,000 times more than the Makeup by Mario. I do have a breakdown video on my TikTok comparing the both, so if you're curious, I will link that in the bio as well. I love these matte formulas. I think they're absolutely beautiful. My most used glitter topper of the entire year is Urban Decay Space Cowboy. No one should be surprised. I use this all the time, every day. What I love about this is you don't need a glitter glue. You don't get fallout. It's so strange. It's completely dry, but it doesn't fall out. It doesn't fluff away. It has the most beautiful twinkly look to it. It catches the light perfectly. It makes you look like you have angel eyes. I feel like everyone knows about this at this point, but I use this probably every other day. Beautiful neutrals, so sometimes when I'm wearing other eyeshadows or other shimmery shadows and I feel like they're not giving what I want them to give, I will tap them with more of this to add that extra glitz and twinkle. I'm not wearing them today, but I do want to give a special shout out to the Moira Star Show Shadow Pots. These are the most revolutionary single shadow glitter shimmer things I have ever tried. They just have all this micro glitter in them. They have so much dimension in them. They're nice and creamy. This is my personal favorite shade. This is in the shade 17 Eureka. Do you see how much twinkle is in there? Let me swatch it for you. That is absolutely stunning. There's no way. It has all these beautiful reflex in it. Blend it out a little bit. The way this catches the light and elevates any eye look, and it's so easy. I just apply it with my fingers. You can use a brush if you want to. It looks a little bit more metallic and foiled on camera. In person, it just looks like Space Cowboy times 10. It comes in so many unique shades. I do have a code with Moira if you'd like 15 or 20% off. I forgot what it was. I do make a small commission from it, so if you're not comfortable with that, no pressure at all. I'm just happy that you're here. But these rival my favorite discontinued Tarte paints, I think they were called. Very similar to the L'Oreal single shadows that I loved back in the day, and they are a fantastic price. We're gonna stay on Moira just a little bit longer because that is what the glitter is on my crease right now. These are the Moira glitter liners. They come in so many shades, and the glitter in this is very even. So if you're using like the Urban Decay one or like K-Beauty ones, they do tend to have a more transparent base. As you draw the line, there's a couple of flicks of glitter throughout. These are so pigmented and they're so saturated with glitter. When you draw a line, you get a full line chock full of glitter. There are a couple shades that are more glitter than most. For example, Show Off is definitely like a super solid chock full of glitter shade, whereas Pink Aurora does have a clear base to it with different colored glitters, so you are going to get a little bit less of like a saturated, for lack of a better word, line. They are the next color pop. I'm claiming it for them now. If you have small sad lashes that never holds a curl, this is your PSA. You need this mascara primer. This is the Etude House Dr. Mascara Fixer Primer. It is completely clear. It has little fibers in there, so it kind of lengthens your lashes as well, but this will hold your freaking lash curl all day. My biggest gripe with mascaras, and it's typically not the mascara's fault, it's just how my natural lashes are. My lashes always fall. They always fall. They never hold a curl. Even if I use the most waterproof of mascaras, it does fall because my lashes are so thin, so they can't support a lot of product on there. This is like a reinforcement for your lashes. It's kind of like adds this tube of like hardening almost. The downside is it does make your lashes a little bit hard, a little bit crunchy, so you have to be really quick with it when you're using it. But this product alone is how I'm able to just wear mascara on a daily basis and actually feel good about the mascara I have on and feel good about how my eyes look without a falsie. If you're looking for a good mascara, the Clio Kill Lash Mascara. This is a super proof mascara. It also has fibers in it, so it's going to add a little bit of extra length on top of the fibers in the mascara primer. And this is super proof. It is cry proof, sweat proof, everything proof. It is very annoying to take off, but if you have super watery eyes, if your mascara smudges everywhere, if you feel like it's not lasting throughout the day, this is phenomenal. So good. Anytime you've seen me with a falsie on, I can guarantee you it's almost always the same falsie unless it's like a cluster or it looks very natural. Cocoa Lashes and Jolie are my absolute holy grail lash. What I love about them is it has a clear band, which is so important to me. It doesn't overtake my eye shape. I have the tiniest little double lid ever, and oftentimes when a lash is too thick at the band, it completely covers my little fold, and I don't like that. And also, I'm getting the drama, but it doesn't hide my eyeshadow. My glitter still peeks through. I love that whatever I have going on the lid still peeks through. It is a flare lash, so this is going to complement your eyes a little bit more if you have almond eyes. I've seen girls with round eyes wear them, hooded eyes wear them, and I still think it's beautiful. And the glue that I love, this is the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive with Aloe. A lot of glues do irritate my eyes. This one does not. When I get it first, it is more fluid and it takes longer to dry down, so I would recommend just leaving it open like this for an hour or two so it can get a little bit thicker and stickier and dries down a lot faster. I don't get lifting with this. I don't get irritated eyes with this. Really nice strong hold, and it is super affordable, so that's always a bonus. Now, I own 1,000,001 lip liners, as I'm sure you do too, but the one that did stand out to me throughout the year was actually kind of surprising. This is the e.l.f. Love Triangle Lip Filler Liner, and this is in the shade Mauve. I love the shape of it. It makes it really easy to line the lip and fill the lip. I love the shade of it. Not too pink, not too brown shade. Very My Lips, but better. I like that it matches every single eye look, always matches my makeup, so I really don't have to think about it. And it's nice and long lasting. It's not a super creamy formula. It does glide, but it has a slight tug to it, which I prefer, because if a lip liner is a little bit waxier, a little bit more tuggy, to me that is just a lot longer lasting. So I'm happy to work a little bit harder when I'm drawing it on if that means it's going to stick around for a lot longer. The number one used lip gloss of the year. I'm wearing it today. I'm wearing it almost always. This is my same tube I've had for like over probably a year and a half, so that's probably really gross and it looks really crusty, but hey. This is the Sephora Collection Outrageous Plump Effect in the shade 02, which is XXL Nude. I just love the color. It's very smoothing. I am very insecure of how many lines my lips have. It smooths right over the lip lines, which I love. Very nice and high shine, perfect neutral tone for me. And the plumping is very gentle. It's kind of like a minty tingle, not cinnamony, not super stingy and painful. It just feels very like minty and cool. The price point is also fantastic. I need to make sure to pick one up during the next Sephora sale and it's 30% off, but either way, it's like 10 bucks. And my number one used setting spray of the entire year, so much so that I completely finished a bottle. This is my refill bottle, the Benefit Professional Super Setter Long Lasting Makeup Setting Spray. And you have to admit, half the reason I love this so much is because of the super even cloud mist. It just feels like super luxurious when you're spraying your face. Typically, I'll do 2 setting sprays, so I'll do something that's a little bit more hydrating to melt the makeup into my skin, then something a little bit more long wear, a little bit more matte so my makeup can stick around all day. This does the job of both, which I super appreciate. It helps my makeup melt into the skin, look a little bit more one with my skin and less like my makeup is sitting on top of my skin, but also it provides longevity and long wear. Overall, it's kind of like a jack of all trades setting spray. If you're just finding me on this platform, I used to be an Ulta, Dior, and Sephora manager. I have tons of education, experience, and first-hand knowledge on a lot of these products, and I also have pretty funny stories if I say so myself. So hit that follow button and stick around.